Dun dun dun. I got a haircut. But I'm filming this after filming my review for 10-31, so I made a little mistake. So in that video, you'll see me reacting to my new haircut. But I recorded that first, even though I'm reviewing this movie. So, it's Joshua Reviews. And today, I'm really tired again. Because I have to sit through a lot of bullshit. And to be honest, I was kind of excited to review They Live Inside Us. The fuck was... Sorry. Yeah, it's on my hand. I was kind of, in a way, excited to review this one. It looked cool. It got good reviews. Except for the Rotten Tomato score with 0%. But it got good reviews. The Rotten Tomato score isn't always correct. In fact, no one reviewed it, so that's why I had 0. But I was excited because it looked very nostalgic of 80s slashers, even though I had no idea what it's about. And overall, the soundtrack seemed cool from the trailer. Overall, it looked really good, so I was actually interested in watching this. It's essentially about this screenwriter. He's trying to get inspiration on like a movie, so he takes his daughter, his crippled daughter, and they go into a haunted house for Halloween night to hopefully get some inspiration. And what ends up happening is there is supposedly a witch that lives in the house, and she haunts them, and we see him trying to write his movie script, and I'm just going to say, this movie is boring. This movie is boring. First of all, this movie isn't necessarily bad. Here's what I mean. From an indie film, everything is great. First of all, I want to say that the cinematography in this movie is probably the best thing in this movie. It is beautifully shot. It almost feels like a professional made movie. The cinematography is great. The shots, the camera work, the lighting, it gives me a very warm Halloween feel. When I don't see any jack-o'-lanterns, but when they talk about Halloween and the lighting is perfect, I still believe that it's during October. I still believe that it takes place during Halloween. It's that well done, where I'm immersed in the autumn fall feel of Halloween. So I really like that about the film. That was the best thing I can praise the movie for. The acting is actually really good. In some parts, it's kind of weird. I think sometimes there are overacting, but for the most part, the acting is really good. I think that the kid actor, in fact, all the kid actors in this film do a really good job. There's about 3 of them, and the 3 that, are in this movie, they do a really good job. I think the person who plays Danny, I think it's her name, Danny. Yeah, Danny. She does a really good job. I felt like they were able, including the father, I felt like they were able to give the right emotions and say the lines properly when there was like a big serious moment. There's a conversation that the dad and his daughter have, and it's very realistically done, and then it turns into an argument, and it was very realistic. The way the dad shouts at the daughter actually was like, oh, shit. And the way the daughter cries, it was like, whoa, that's really good. I got it. That's really good acting. Especially for an indie film. I don't know what the budget for this film was, but it was really good. Also, the location, perfect. The house is really creepy. There are scenes that are like, oh, what's in that hallway? Especially with the cinematography and the lighting, you just get this like spooky haunted house feel of like the house that they're in. It just works very well, and the legend that goes behind the witch that supposedly haunts the house is very intriguing. I actually felt very intrigued and interested in the beginning of this movie when they were giving the backstory. And I'll admit, this movie took a few interesting directions, especially with it kind of changing tone from them telling like these short horror stories. And despite me saying all these good things, the movie was boring. Here's why. There's a lot of scenes that drag in this movie. The last 30 minutes could have been cut of 10 minutes. Like, they could have cut 10, 15 minutes worth of footage and you wouldn't have missed anything. There was literally 10 minutes of the father walking around the house, not doing anything. And I was scratching my head, sitting there, like, wondering, why does he need to be walking in the halls of this haunted house for 10 minutes? Maybe 15. It didn't make any sense. The only reason I didn't skip it was because I was wondering if something was going to change. And it wasn't until the 10-minute mark that I was like, okay, I got to skip a little bit. And even then, I think there was more, but I just... And like I said, sometimes the acting is a little overacting. There was a time, it wasn't the scene that I mentioned earlier where where the father was shouting at his daughter, but it was a different scene where he was getting angry with himself. It just came across as kind of comedic because he's angry about something he wrote, and he has a face like this, like as he's ripping the pages, and I couldn't help but laugh at the way he just tore the pages of his notebook. And sometimes when he talks to himself, it doesn't seem like he's actually talking to himself. That's what I meant to say. Sometimes it doesn't seem like he's talking to himself. It seems like he's just telling the audience what is in the script. Like, like he's giving the audience information. It was just kind of weird. And I'm going to be honest, this movie wasn't scary. The trailer and the cover were very creepy. The poster's probably creepy. Yeah, I think the poster's really creepy. I think it's a very well done poster. And the trailer made this movie look really freaking creepy. But I wasn't creeped out at all. And here's the thing. I thought the characters were likable. I did like them, but nothing is really done with them, Nothing really happens. Here's the whole movie in a nutshell. So everything I explained, this is it's the screenwriter going to a haunted house on Halloween to try and get some inspiration for like a screenplay, and his daughter's with him, and she's crippled. But the whole movie, they're talking, right? They're talking, and then they go to bed. Next day, they talk about their plans for Halloween. He writes a script. We see a little short Halloween segment of a haunted scarecrow, which was pretty cool. Then after that, he finishes the story. He talks to his daughter some more. He sees a ghostly figure. Doesn't add anything to the story. Then he writes another story, and we see another short segment, which was cool, but didn't really add anything to the plot. And then after that, they get into the argument. They say, hey, let's just get out of this house, and then final act happens, and it's just slow. That's it. And at least to me, when watching this, maybe I'm wrong on this, but to me, when I was watching, I was just saying, this could be cut. This could be, like, trimmed down. Like, and it's somehow an hour and 43 minutes. Okay. That's a little long. And like I said, even though I like the characters, because it kind of dragged in some places, and not only that, but because nothing really interesting happens with our main characters, and it's fucking depressing ending, yeah, I just really couldn't get into it. I really couldn't get into this film, despite all the good things I could say about it. Like, there are a lot of good things, and I know people do like this movie, and that's totally fine. But with me, I couldn't get into it. I couldn't get emotionally invested in the characters. And it just, in the end, the story kind of lost me. Because it was very slow paced. And not in a good way, in my opinion. That's the best way I can describe it. But this movie's not bad. It's not bad, in my personal opinion. I didn't really care for it. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a C. in the middle because it's not bad. In my opinion, I wouldn't say it's good, but it's okay. Check it out for yourself. I gotta go review 10-31 and 2. See you then.